On everything I love, I don't care if it's daytime, I don't care if it's nighttime, I don't care if you just playing. If you doing that stupid run they doing in this movie and you running towards me, I'm punching you in the face. With Together coming out last week and with Weapons coming out this week, I'm loving this wave of original horror movies. And we are talking spoilers, so if you have not seen this movie yet, come back later. Weapons is a movie that I was really looking forward to, and it seems like the internet and critics love this film. You have some people that are saying that this is the best horror movie of the year. You have people saying that this movie is better than Sinners. Even though I don't consider Sinners a horror movie, I don't think this film is better than Sinners. You have some people saying that this is just overall the movie of the year. Look, let me be very clear because I know how the internet is. I like this movie. I really enjoyed it. I don't think this film is perfect. I have things that I love about this film. I have things that, I don't want to say I hate it, but I have things that I don't like about this film. Any criticism that I'm going to say in this video does not mean that I think this movie is trash. I just don't think this movie is a 10 out of 10 or a 5-star like some people are making it out to be. Let me explain. The only movie that I've seen from director Zach Cregger is Barbarian, and I do not understand the hype for that film. I'm not going to spoil Barbarian if you haven't seen it, but if you have seen that movie, you know that film takes a really hard turn. I loved everything at the beginning of that movie, hated the rest. Watching Barbarian first kind of gave me an idea of what I could expect with this movie, and even though Weapons isn't as ridiculous, I'm not surprised that this was made by the same director. Let me just start by saying that the acting in this movie is great. And I know this is kind of a common joke on the internet at this point, but it's kind of true. This movie is like an alternate universe in the MCU. Julia Garner has been killing it lately, and she also starred in Fantastic Four a few weeks ago. Josh Brolin is another big name, and obviously, as we all know, he plays Thanos. Benedict Wong was great in this film, and he also plays in the MCU as well. I'm always fascinated by child actors because I know how I was when I was a kid, and Kerry Christopher plays the lead kid, Alex Lilly, and he also gave a strong performance. And that's just naming a few of the actors involved with this movie. I thought across the board, I thought everyone did a great job, but the story and the creepiness of this film is why it shines. So 17 kids randomly go missing in the night, and Justine, played by Julia Garner, is public enemy number one as all the kids are from her classroom. So all the kids involved in this classroom mysteriously woke up and left their homes at 2:17 a.m. and went missing for 30 days. So nobody in the city knows what happens, nobody knows why these children disappeared, and we the viewer, we're brought along on this journey as we watch this mystery unfold. And this movie was also told in parts, which I wasn't expecting, but I've always loved when movies did that. I've always thought that that was so cool. So we slowly see this story unravel. We get the perspectives of all these different characters, and then of course eventually they all cross paths. And just seeing the build up towards the end of this movie, I thought was incredible. Like, I love the mystery of this film. Like, the entire time that I'm watching this movie, I'm sitting there like, what the hell is going on? Because all of this is creepy. A simple scene like when the kids first woke up and ran out their house and they're doing that weird looking run into the darkness, that scene was creepy. It was a scene where Justine was drunk and sleeping inside of her car. You see this woman or this person in the distance. They're walking towards her car. They get to the window, they leave, and then you hear the car door open. That's creepy. This movie wasn't really that scary to me, but in general, I'm not really scared of a lot of horror movies. I like that subtle, creepy, disturbing stuff more than just the loud jump scares. Like that scene of Justine drunk inside of her car with that woman walking towards her window, that was one of my favorite scenes in this movie. I like stuff like that. Jump scares just never really did anything for me. Like, they never really scared me. To me, they're actually kind of cheap. Like, of course I'm gonna flinch if something jumps at me or you blast this loud sound effect. I will say, there was one jump scare in this movie that did get me, but I'll talk about that in a second. The marketing for this movie did a great job because in the trailers, they didn't really show anything. So it was all this chatter on the internet and everybody was coming up with theories with what they thought this movie was going to be about. I started to believe the theory that this movie was going to be some sort of metaphor for school shootings. This movie is about kids disappearing. This movie is called Weapons. That's where my brain went. And I thought this movie confirmed my belief because there was a scene in this movie where Josh Brolin's character was inside of a dream. He was running towards his house and he stopped, and above the house in the clouds, it formed a giant machine gun. And I saw that and I was thinking to myself, I'm a genius. But this movie did a really good job of letting the viewer's mind wander, because for me, when I'm watching a film, I like to try to solve the mystery before the film tells me. And my mind was all over the place. I don't know if they did it on purpose, but just some of the things that I was seeing, I had no idea what was going on. Like in my mind, I was like, is this a metaphor about school shootings? I was like, is all this being caused by aliens? Is this being caused by demons? Is this being caused by infections? When the principal was at his home with his husband, they were watching a documentary about parasites. But then as the story goes along, we learn that all of this is happening because of a witch. And it was right in front of our face the entire time as it was painted on Justine's car. So these kids are missing and these people are mindless like zombies because a witch comes to town and puts people under a spell. And if I can be completely honest with you guys, I thought that was kind of lame, but I'll talk about that in a second. But I thought the editing was great. I thought the practical effects in this movie were great. Like the scene where Marcus, the principal, was headbutting his husband in the middle of that kitchen. That scene was brutal, but I love the mystery. I love the suspense. Like it was multiple scenes that had me on the edge of my seat. This movie kept my interest the entire time. We got a bunch of interesting and flawed characters, and I love seeing the different perspectives as the story slowly started to make sense. So honestly, I really enjoyed this movie, but in my opinion, this film struggles with the same problem that I have with a lot of other horror movies. They can have a lot of great buildup, they can have great suspense, but they don't stick the landing. And that ending doesn't work for me. I did have some other smaller issues with this movie, like maybe it's just me, but early on in this film, I completely forgot that this was supposed to be a horror movie. Like nothing about this movie was really scary. It felt more like a mystery whodunit with an occasional jump scare here and there, but it didn't actually feel like a horror movie until we got to the drug addict's James portion of the movie, and then of course Alex. But when we got to the James part of the movie, I hope I'm saying the right name. I'm talking about the drug addict. When we got to James' portion of the movie, that was the first time that we got to look inside of Alex's home. And this was also the first time that we got to see where the children, when they left their homes at night, where all those kids went, they went to Alex's basement. And now earlier in this review, I said that there was a scene that got me during the jump scare. And when I tell you, when James went into that basement and I saw all those children, I said, oh, shit. And then when those children turned around and looked at him, I can't lie, it got me. I'm a thug. I jumped a little bit. I can't lie. That scene kind of got me. That was really creepy. I wasn't as bad because it was a woman like 2-3 rows in front of me. She literally jumped and like threw her hands in the air. But I thought that scene was great. That was my favorite part of this movie. And then we get to Alex's portion of this film. And this is where we really start to see what exactly is going on. Like we start to learn more about Alex's background, and we see that he has this sick, creepy aunt named Aunt Gladys. We start to learn more about her powers. She's making his parents stab themselves in the face. This part was great, but the character of Gladys in general and all of this happening because of witchcraft, I don't hate it, but it's kind of like, okay. Like I thought Gladys was going to be this like demon, sort of like Pennywise like character, because I believe we first see Gladys in Justine's dream. She's on the ceiling, and then we see Gladys again in Archer's dream, played by Josh Brolin, and then we see Gladys again. She's in the woods in the distance when James is running through the woods, running away from Paul, and then it's like, oh, she's an actual legit person. I could be wrong because they don't blatantly say it, but to me, I feel like it's kind of obvious that she's using all of these kids and Alex's parents, and she's kind of using them for their life or their energy or something like that. Because throughout the film, it seems like her character is getting healthier and stronger, kind of like the guy from The Mummy. And then we got to that ending, and I had to think about it for a while after I left the theater. I don't like it. But when Justine and Archer get to the home and then they get inside, I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm like, it's about to go down. Justine, don't cross the salt. I think she does. And then they get attacked. This, just like Barbarian, is where I feel like a dramatic shift in tone happens. The main problem that I have with a lot of horror movies is at the very end, they usually go balls to the wall and then they end up all over the place. This movie did such a great job the entire film, and then at the very end it kind of became silly and it kind of became a parody. So at the end of the movie we have Paul, who I don't think I mentioned. Paul is a police officer, and then you have James. James attacks Archer, Paul attacks Justine. Archer kept knocking James out, and he kept getting knocked out and popping back up. and coming back at him. And it's like, I get it. They're trying to show that these people are under a spell. They're kind of like zombies. They're unrelentless. They're going to keep coming back. But the way they executed this, it seems like they were going more for comedy and not horror. And I also feel like this scene went on for way too long. What was going on upstairs with Alex, and he's hiding from his parents, and his parents is breaking down the doors trying to get to him, that's horror. Archer tossing around a crackhead in the middle of a living room, that felt kind of stupid to me. So during all this chaos, Justine is in the kitchen. She's fighting with Paul. She eventually gets his gun, shoots him in the head, kills him. She sees Archer fighting with James. She goes over, she shoots James in the back of the head, saves Archer. Archer goes downstairs. He's trying to find his son. Who does he find in the basement? He finds Gladys. Archer comes back upstairs. He's now under Gladys' spell. He's choking out Justine. And we, the viewer, we're like, what's gonna happen? So Alex is upstairs. He's running around from his parents. He finally gets inside of Aunt Gladys's bedroom. He grabs her witch tools. He runs to the bathroom. He locks the door. His parents are trying to break the door down. His parents are trying to get to him. During his time with Aunt Gladys, Alex kind of learns how she does these spells. He ends up casting a spell himself, and the spell that he casts ultimately makes his classmates attack Aunt Gladys. And at this part, this is where the movie really lost me. So the weapons in this movie isn't necessarily just the kids, it's any person that's underneath the spell. And just like he's seeking missiles, when they get a target, they start running after Gladys. Gladys is in the kitchen, she's laughing at Justine. She has this look of shock over her face, and she says something like, "Oh, and she just starts running, and then we hear a stampede, and then these kids are on her ass. I do get what the director was going for. This was supposed to be a moment in the movie where we, the viewer, can finally relax. We can sit back, we can laugh, we can root for these kids as they're attacking Gladys, and I was definitely rooting for them. But this part of the movie just felt kind of silly to me. Like, I also feel like this scene went on for way too long. Like, we're watching these kids running through homes, they're tearing Gladys apart in somebody's front yard in broad daylight. Like, I feel like this movie just took a dramatic sharp turn left, and I feel like this is going to be one of those things that you either love or hate. I lean more towards hate. As of this recording, Weapons is aiming to make at least $38 million in its opening weekend. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a critic score of 96% and a fan rating of 89%. This might be the highest score I've given a horror movie on my channel. I'm going to give this movie an 8, which is a grade on my scale. This was such a fascinating and interesting story, and it managed to keep my attention for the entire 2-hour runtime. It had genuine moments that were creepy, great mystery, great acting, and it's really unique. The ending of this movie is the thing that's stopping me from giving this an even higher score. I didn't like it. I do love that they didn't spoon feed and explain every single thing in this movie. It's just the ending felt like a parody, and I wasn't feeling the comedy. It was such a drastic tone shift in my opinion. But this movie did get me with a rare jump scare, so shout out to them. But thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe if you're new here. We talk about a bunch of different things on this channel. What are your thoughts on this movie? Did you love it? Did you hate it? It seems like the internet really loves this movie, but I'm starting to see more people complain about the ending. Like, my theater wasn't packed, but when I was leaving, I did hear some people saying the same thing as me. Like, what the hell was that ending? Maybe we're tripping, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Love you guys. As always, remember to tell somebody that you love them. Until next time, see you in the next life.